Have you ever felt helpless when you wake up every morning, take your blood pressure medication regularly, carefully avoid every grain of salt, but the numbers on the monitor still stubbornly stay at the alarming level? The truth is, the reason your blood pressure refuses to cool down sometimes has nothing to do with everyday worries or a slightly salty dinner plate. Last year, I once received a 67-year-old male patient. Even though he was taking 4 different blood pressure medications and obediently followed every medical order, his arteries were still as hardened as concrete pipes. He was not lazy. He was not neglecting himself. He had done everything the doctor asked. However, what no one told that poor man, and what I am about to share with you today, is that the most miraculous answer had always been quietly sitting in the corner of his kitchen. No need for any new prescriptions, no tiring side effects, just 5 extremely simple changes from food. We will let food perform its original healing mission that nature has bestowed upon it. Hello, I'm Dr. Kevin Carter. Let's take care of your health so you can keep living life on your own terms. Quick check. If you're watching this for your health, just drop a 1 in the comments. In our youth, our blood flowed smoothly like cool streams. But as the years passed, something invisible quietly intervened, robbing those strong blood vessels of their softness. To begin the journey of soothing the heartbeat and bringing peace to the heart, we need to deeply understand the root of the problem. What is really happening beneath your skin when you step past the age of 60? Imagine our circulatory system like a brand new rubber garden hose. When you were in your 20s, every time the heart pumped blood out, that hose could easily expand and bend smoothly to absorb all the pressure. But over many decades, those hoses were like left forgotten under the harsh summer sun. They gradually lost their natural flexibility, became hardened, and turned into brittle plastic pipes. When a large surge of pressure arrives, they can no longer expand to accommodate it. Your heart, therefore, does not get even 1 second of real rest. It has to strain, beating many times harder just to try to push the life force through those increasingly narrow and rough corridors. Why does this happen? At clinics, people often tell you that high blood pressure is due to eating too salty or worrying too much. But that is only the tip of an iceberg. Western science delves into anatomy and calls the real culprit behind this hardening, silent, chronic inflammatory responses a smoldering fire with no smoke, no clear symptoms, but day after day, year after year, it slowly burns and erodes the vessel walls. Meanwhile, Eastern medicine has an extremely profound perspective to explain this phenomenon. They call it the state of yin deficiency and fire excess. Imagine the yin part as the cool, gentle water source inside the body. Through all the ups and downs, that water source gradually dries up over time, giving way to toxic heat flames, the fire part, that keep rising. This very dryness causes the blood vessels to lose their smoothness, becoming dry and brittle. You may be blaming yourself for the years of hard work in your youth, or for maintaining less than perfect lifestyle habits. Please let go of that invisible burden. You are completely not at fault. The worries you have carried throughout life are truly admirable. This hardening is simply a natural rusting process of creation inside the body, and it is beyond the control of pure willpower. And this is the moment your kitchen speaks. Every day with 3 meals, what you put into your body is not just to soothe hunger. They are life and death decisions. Either you are unintentionally adding oil to that smoldering inflammatory fire, or you are sending cool, refreshing rains to extinguish the toxic fire, restoring flexibility to every cell. That is why the first food you pick up on your dinner plate tonight carries the power to change your entire heartbeat. When you sit down at the dinner table tonight, what is the first thing your chopsticks touch? If you are like most of us, it could be a steaming bowl of white rice, a soft piece of potato, or a fragrant slice of bread. We grew up with the habit of eating starch first, an unconscious ritual repeated for decades. But modern medicine has discovered an extremely harsh mechanism hidden behind that seemingly harmless habit. When starch goes straight into an empty stomach, it immediately turns into sugar. Imagine it like opening the floodgates of a hydroelectric dam. A massive amount of sugar will surge into the bloodstream like a flash flood. Placed in a red alert state, the body frantically releases a large amount of insulin to rescue the situation. And this sudden, panicked response immediately forces the blood vessel walls to constrict. Right at the cozy dinner table, your blood vessels are being squeezed without you even noticing. The miracle appears when you do an extremely simple position swap. Enjoy the green vegetables first, then the protein, and leisurely save the starch for the last bites. Why does this order carry the power to change the face of your health? Because the fiber from vegetables, when entering the stomach first, weaves together to form a solid sponge shield. When starch comes in last, the sugar, instead of rushing in like a flood, is now held back by this shield and can only seep through drop by drop, extremely quietly. With no blood sugar flood, the body does not need to release panicked insulin, and your blood vessels are completely relaxed. This mindfulness and eating order is not unfamiliar. It has always been the lifelong secret of the long-lived elderly in Okinawa, Japan. They always start with plants to soothe the spleen and stomach, creating a gentle environment that harmonizes qi and blood before adding heavier energy sources. I once guided this method for a 71-year-old retired female teacher. She did not change her portion sizes, still ate the food she loved, only changed the order. Within just 2 weeks, her post-meal blood pressure readings dropped dramatically. She called it the easiest thing I have ever done for my health. With just one gentle tweak right at the dinner table, you have established a solid protective barrier for your heartbeat. And to reinforce that smoothness, right next to your dinner table, there may be hiding a miraculous drop of essence with the power to open the flow strongly. That is apple cider vinegar. Your skepticism right now is completely understandable. How can a common seasoning lying around in the kitchen corner for years possibly compare to complex treatments? But please stay a moment to look deeply into the wonderful mechanism that nature has bestowed. Simply mix 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar with a large glass of filtered water, at least 8 ounces, to sip throughout the meal, and you are introducing an extremely powerful compound into the body, acetic acid. Modern cardiovascular science has proven that this compound plays 2 life and death roles for blood pressure. First, it acts like an invisible anchor, firmly holding down and calming blood sugar fluctuations after eating. Thanks to this anchor, your cells receive energy slowly. The body does not need to frantically release large amounts of insulin to rescue the situation. And the result is that your blood vessels completely escape the scene of being constricted or squeezed right at the dinner table. However, The second ability of apple cider vinegar is truly a masterpiece of nature. Acetic acid directly stimulates the blood vessel walls to produce nitric oxide. Imagine this nitric oxide like an invisible, lubricating oil layer, gently coating every nook and cranny of the blood vessels. When this lubricant spreads, the tense pressure valves are immediately soothed, relaxed, and slowly expand rhythmically, just like a flower bud gently blooming under the morning sun. From the perspective of traditional Eastern medicine, this mechanism is extremely subtle and profound. The pure, refreshing sourness of apple cider vinegar belongs to the wood element. Thanks to this property, it carries the power to travel straight into the liver meridian, performing the task of clearing heat, completely resolving stagnation, and soothing the frustrated fires accumulating in the bloodstream, returning smooth flow to the entire circulatory system. Of course, remember to always dilute apple cider vinegar, and you may use a straw to protect your tooth enamel. If you have a history of stomach ulcers, please talk to your doctor before starting this habit. Before we go deeper into the kitchen, please take a second to hit the like button. This action helps the video reach other elderly people who are quietly worried about blood pressure every day. And now, with the meal fully protected by the vegetable barrier and apple cider vinegar, I want you to take a few steps to the familiar spice cabinet. Open that door and see which cooking oil bottles are occupying the most prominent spot on the shelf. Very likely, you will find a bottle of soybean oil, canola oil, or golden corn oil. This is the heart of the greatest misconception that the food industry has planted in our awareness for many decades. These industrially refined oils contain a massive amount of omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 itself is not toxic, but the terrifying imbalance in the ratio is the root of the tragedy. Currently, we are putting into our body an amount of omega-6 that is 15 to 20 times higher than the level nature designed. This severe excess works exactly like you secretly pouring invisible cans of gasoline into the smoldering inflammatory fire inside the blood vessels. Even more terrifying, when you heat these oils on the pan at high temperatures, their structure breaks down and decomposes into toxins called aldehydes. Imagine these aldehyde toxins moving in the bloodstream like rough sandpaper pieces, continuously rubbing and scratching the delicate inner lining of the blood vessel walls. To save itself, the body is forced to mobilize plaques to patch and repair those bleeding wounds, making the pathway of circulation increasingly narrow and clogged. You may be feeling a pang of guilt for accidentally buying and storing them. But please remember this firmly. You are completely not at fault. For the past 30 years, massive advertising campaigns have continuously sown fear, advising us to abandon traditional fats in exchange for the false safety of industrial oils. You brought those bottles home only out of love, out of the desire to cook the healthiest meal for your family. The misguided direction of an entire era is absolutely not a mistake for you to blame or reproach yourself for. It is time for us to clean up this kitchen corner by returning to the ancient wisdom of the Mediterranean region. Replace them with extra virgin olive oil for light stir-fries or salad dressings. This golden green, living sap contains the compound oleocanthal, acting like a wonderful fire extinguisher that immediately puts out inflammatory reactions. And for dishes requiring high heat, boldly return to real butter, extracted from grass-fed cow's milk. Eastern medicine clearly believes that the purest and most natural fat layers are the source that nourishes the yin part, helping to completely extinguish the dryness and depletion inside the bloodstream. With just one decisive but quiet change right at this kitchen corner, after about 3 to 6 months, the inflammation indices in your body will drop in an astonishing way. Your kitchen has now truly become a completely safe healing space. Now, let's turn off the lights together. Step out of this room to rest and prepare to welcome the first ray of sunlight tomorrow morning. When the first rays of the new day knock on the door, what is your usual habit? Brewing a strong pot of black tea or pouring a cup of black coffee to awaken alertness? This morning, try replacing them with a drink with a vibrant red color and hidden extraordinary healing power. Hibiscus tea, also known as hibiscus tea. For many centuries, traditional medicine in tropical lands, from distant African regions, Latin America to the Middle East, has viewed these deep red petals as a precious remedy. According to Eastern philosophy, hibiscus flowers carry cooling properties. When entering the body, they act like a cool breeze that extinguishes the stagnant heat accumulating, helping to soothe and cool the surging bloodstream. Today, modern cardiovascular science has finally caught up with that ancient wisdom. The secret lies in a miraculous compound inside the petals, called anthocyanins. To understand the greatness of this compound, we need to talk about how your body sometimes makes things difficult for itself. Inside your blood vessels exists a special enzyme. When stress arrives, this enzyme immediately turns into a steel clamp, tightly gripping the vessel walls and forcing the blood to struggle through narrow gaps. Western medicine often prescribes a common group of drugs called ACE inhibitors to break that clamp. However, hibiscus tea possesses the exact same mechanism but works completely naturally. The anthocyanins enter the bloodstream like a skilled locksmith, gently inserting the key and unlocking each latch of the steel clamp. The pressure is released smoothly so the blood can flow freely and without causing the intense dry cough, a troublesome side effect that many people taking Western medication often have to endure. A reputable study in the Nutrition Journal confirmed sipping 3 cups of hibiscus tea every day can lower systolic blood pressure by an average of 7 points. For the cardiovascular system, 7 points is an extremely important boundary of life and death, a result powerful enough to astonish the medical community. You can drink it warm in the early morning or add some ice for a hot afternoon. Just remember one rule. Absolutely do not use refined sugar, because artificial sweetness will immediately go against all the healing efforts of the petals. You may add a small teaspoon of honey if really necessary. However, caution is always the measure of wisdom. If you are taking prescription ACE inhibitors, please talk to your doctor before making this drink a daily habit. We are seeking a gentle balance, not an over-intervention that causes blood pressure to drop to a dangerous level. A cool cup of tea has opened the new day extremely quietly. But your blood vessels will only be fully protected when you know how to soothe the heart at the end of a long day, when the sun rays completely fade and the quiet night descends. When night falls, we have the habit of turning off the lights, locking the doors, and believing that the body can finally sink into complete rest. However, for many people past the age of 60, darkness is the time that hides a hidden danger called nighttime high blood pressure. Normally, when you fall asleep, the heartbeat and blood pressure must lower to allow the entire system to be maintained. However, if you have this condition, your blood pressure does not decrease, but continues to stay high. Try imagining that this is exactly like parking your car in a closed garage, turning off the lights, but leaving the engine still roaring and draining power from night until morning. The consequence is that your heart chamber has to work desperately and hopelessly to fight against the enormous pressure in the darkness. That depletion is exactly why you often wake up feeling completely exhausted and sluggish, even though you think you have slept a full night. The scariest thing is that daytime blood pressure monitors can never catch this abnormal moment, making you mistakenly believe everything is still under control. To soothe that devoted heartbeat, I want you to prepare an extremely small habit. Enjoy about 30 grams of walnuts, equivalent to 14 halves, exactly 30 minutes before lying down. Many studies have proven that this nut contains an astonishing combination of nutrients, including alpha-linolenic acid, melatonin, and L-arginine. When entering the body, this combination is not just nutrition. They weave together and act like a soft velvet blanket, gently covering the entire inner surface of the blood vessel walls, soothing and calming the swollen inflammatory plaques. They send a very clear biological signal to the cardiovascular system. It is time to let go of all defenses, relax the pressure valves, and sink deep into stillness. This miracle from Western science perfectly matches the yin-yang philosophy of Eastern medicine. Nightfall is the moment when yin energy in the universe and the body needs to be nourished to gather all things inward. Walnuts have an extremely strong property of nourishing kidney yin. Thanks to that, it helps pull the rising fire deep down, anchoring stability and absolute stillness for both the mind and the blood vessels. Each food habit you have just gone through may seem like small, scattered touches. But when we arrange all of them together along the length of a day, what miracle will truly happen? You are not simply eating, but you are personally conducting a gentle symphony called life, soothing the heartbeat from the moment dawn breaks until the night closes. This seamless connection is not accidental. It is the beautiful intersection between the circadian rhythm that Western medicine always emphasizes and the natural qi and blood circulation rule from Eastern wisdom. Imagine your new routine will flow smoothly like this. In the morning, when yang energy begins to awaken, instead of forcing the body to start immediately, you welcome the new day with a deep red cup of hibiscus tea. That refreshing flavor will loosen all the pressure in the blood vessels, so you step into the new day in the lightest way. At lunch and dinner, in the midst of the busy whirl, you proactively start with a green fiber barrier to stop the blood sugar flood. Next, you add a cool glass of apple cider vinegar water to create a smooth, lubricating layer for the blood vessels. And of course, all the energy on the dinner plate has been warmed by the original fat source from olive oil or real butter, helping to completely extinguish every seed of swelling from the kitchen corner. Finally, when night falls, you rely on the essence from walnuts to send the signal of gathering inward, drawing the curtain of stillness for the entire circulatory system to sink into deep sleep. Hearing this sequence of actions, I know you may feel overwhelmed. My secret for you is, do not try to do all 5 of these things tomorrow. Sustainability never comes from forcing or pushing yourself to change 180 degrees in one night. Right now, before you close the screen, close your eyes and choose exactly one single piece that feels the easiest for you. It could be deciding to pick up the phone and order a box of hibiscus tea, firmly checking the spice shelf, or simply promising yourself to pick up the vegetable plate first at dinner. Just one truly gentle decision. Repeat it quietly every day until it becomes unconscious, becoming your natural breath. Our blood vessel system is extremely forgiving and sensitive. Never think it is too late. As long as you provide it with the right environment, it will immediately revive and respond. And when you are ready for that first small change, there is one final truth about the heart that I want you to carry with you. What is that truth? Protecting health when stepping over the slope of life is not a harsh battle to defeat disease. In reality, it is a humble journey of returning to the most original values of creation. The correct priority order at this moment does not lie in relentlessly chasing expensive or complicated therapies. It begins from the food lifestyle itself, allowing food to perform its original mission of nourishing and soothing that it was born to do. From that solid foundation, you then begin to weave in small changes, little by little, without pressure and completely without force. Because the human body does not demand complexity. It is only patiently waiting for you to provide the right conditions to heal itself. However, I want to emphasize one extremely important point. The knowledge I share today is synthesized from scientific research and clinical evidence, but it is absolutely not meant to replace your personal medical treatment regimen. Please never arbitrarily stop or reduce any medication your doctor has prescribed. Instead, bring this information to your next appointment for an open conversation. Your treating doctor is the most capable partner, and Mother Nature always exerts her maximum power when accompanied by proper medical supervision. I am Dr. Kevin Carter. The heart inside your chest is your most devoted companion. It has worked tirelessly, beating without stopping every minute for decades without a single complaint or demand for reward. Now is the time for you to give it back the love and peace it truly deserves. Maybe keep this video to yourself, but if someone you care about is quietly struggling, this could really help them. Wishing you always maintain calmness in your mind and a truly healthy heartbeat. And make sure to watch this next episode. I've picked this one especially for you. Definitely watch. See you there.